Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Chrissy, just Chrissy Books, and these are my top 10 of 2025. Starting with The One by John Marrs. This book is a book that I think about at least once a week since I read it. I absolutely love this book, and I am aware that there's some extra chapters coming out sometime in 2026. I can't wait. I absolutely love this book. So if you haven't already heard of The One, where have you been for a start? Probably where I was in 2024, not reading any books at all. So how far would you go to find the one? One simple mouth swab is all it takes, a quick DNA test to find your perfect partner, the one you are genetically made for. And this went in directions I didn't think, because you've got one of the couples, one of them is a police detective and one of them is a serial killer. So even just that couple, but there's more couples. I think there's five. The five main couples. This went in directions I didn't expect. I could not put this book down. This was absolutely fantastic. So absolutely rated that one 5 stars. Then The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I'm going to put a picture of the cover because I borrowed my sister's copy and now I've returned that copy. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is not a thriller. I predominantly read thrillers, and my sister highly recommended this book, and I immersive read this one. I think it was the first one I immersive read in the whole of the year, and that snowballed my love for immersive reading because it just helped me engross myself into the story, and it was absolutely fabulous. So you've got Addie, who was born in I believe the late 1800s, and she's being told she has to marry this man, and she doesn't want to marry this man, even though she's being told that it's going to be the best thing she's going to do. And instead she decides she's going to sell her soul for the option not marrying this man. She then gets eternal life, but there's one thing that happens. She's never going to be remembered. No one will remember her. And it was so beautifully written. V.E. Schwab writes in such a fabulous, fabulous way. And a few people have said that this book is very long. I don't think this book is too long. I could have read this book forever. Though the prose in this book were absolutely beautiful. And by the end of the book, I did shed a tear at the end of the book because it's just so poignant and beautifully written. And there's 2 timelines. You've got the 1800s timeline and you've got the current timeline, and it's just how it comes together is just absolutely beautiful. And yes, absolutely recommend that with my 5 stars. The next one is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I do own a copy of this book, however I don't currently have it because I loaned it to my sister and I'm waiting for her to read it before she gives me it back. And The Only One Left, I recommended this to a friend of mine who does not read thrillers, and she read it and she instantly rated it 5 stars. I think she read it in like 3 days. The twists in this book, if you guess the twist in this book, I want to know. I want to know how he did it, because I did not get the twist in this book. I couldn't put the book down, and the twist really got me right at the end. I pretty much got whiplash. I'm pretty sure I got whiplash. It follows the main character, who, name gone, but she gets a job to go and work in this family, and why am I not remembering the main premise of it? So something really bad happened in this house years and years and years ago. The whole family was killed. They believe that one of the main characters did it. Honestly, names have gone completely out of my head. Everyone thinks that she did it. And when she goes to work in this family to essentially write the story, I think she goes to write the story. Suffice to say, it's a really good book. Just read it because it's absolutely incredible. The next on my list is Strange Sally Diamond. Now, if you haven't heard of this book, where have you been? Because Liz Nugent, the writing is absolutely phenomenal. And when you read the first chapter, so I'm just going to briefly just read the first line in this book without my glasses, so it's going to be a bit tricky. Put him out with the bins, he said regularly. When I die, put me out with the bins. I'll be dead, so I won't know any difference. You will carry on, you'll be crying your eyes out. Sorry, glasses. And he would laugh, and I'd laugh too, because we both knew that I wouldn't be crying my eyes out. I never cry. That is the first 6 lines of the book. So Sally Diamond is quite possibly one of the best characters that I have read in a book. I absolutely love Sally, and it's not explicitly said that she's neurodivergent, but it very much comes across that is the case. This book is phenomenal, and I absolutely love this one. Now, my sister did borrow this book, and because of her profession, she works in the mental health area. She read this very differently to the way I read it, and it's very interesting to see that point of view. So she absolutely loved it right up until the end, whereas I loved it all the way to the end. But because of her profession, I think she thought of this very, very differently. So yeah, I rated this 5 stars. I thoroughly love this book. However, go with an open mind. It depends on what your point of view is. So the next on my list is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Oh, I love this book so much. I mean, I annotated this book as well. So I've got my annotation tabs. I didn't write in it, but I did tab the book because, my word, I immersive read this one as well. I am now a huge fan of immersive reading books. This book was just so beautifully put together. Yes, some of it may not be factually accurate, but it does not take away from the story. So this is a story about women in World War II, and it is when women's stories were all too forgotten and overlooked. Vivian and Isabella, 2 sisters separated by years of experience, by ideals and passion and circumstance, each embarking on their own dangerous path to survival, love, freedom and war-torn France. It's heartbreaking and beautiful novel and celebrates the resilience of human spirit and endurance of women. Yeah, I mean, I cried reading this book. I'm close to tears thinking about it, to be perfectly honest. It mentions a place in France that I've actually been to, Ourdes-sur-Glane, and the story of Ourdes-sur-Glane in this book is what happened. It is what happened. Ourdes has been conserved because the Germans essentially went in and took over the village, murdered everybody in it. So they put all of the women and the children in the church, they burnt the church down, and they lined up all of the men and they shot them. And the people who did this, the Germans who did this, were actually arrested and tried for war crimes. So that actually was mentioned in this book. So when I got to that point, I was like, because I went there in, I believe it was 2004, and I walked around, and I've still got the photographs, and I have on that bookshelf somewhere, bookshelf behind here, I've actually still got the visitor guide, which is just a memorial guide, if you like. So yeah, this book was an instant 5 stars for it not being a thriller. This instant 5 stars. Interestingly, I've got 2 non-thriller 5 stars in my list. That was that one. My next one was Hidden Pictures, which is by Jessa Rekulak. I don't currently have a copy of that because my sister's got it. So there's the picture. This was such a spooky book, and I read it around about the October time, and I just remember reading it like with my light on, and with my little light over my book under the covers in bed, because I could not put this book down, and I was up until like silly o'clock in the morning reading it. And it's about a girl who is down on her luck. She goes in and gets a job with this family. She looks after this little boy, and the little boy's drawing pictures, and they get more and more and more sinister. And the pictures are in the book, and it just adds something so special to this book. It was phenomenal, and I highly recommend it. And again, if you guess the twist, I want to know how you guessed the twist, because it was so good. Next on my list, I've got right here, which is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I loved this book so much. I think this is really in the thriller category. I think this is more in the horror category. And if you've read it already, the rats. And I daily, every single time I look at this book on my shelf, I daily think about the end. And if you know, you know. Because it's just in my head all the time. If you know, you know. Please let me know if you've read it, because yeah, I'd love to know if you daily think about the end. So the blurb is in here because I started reading this with my sister's copy, and she's just got a paperback copy. I then went and ordered it on Amazon, and this arrived. It's a trade paperback, airport copy. And I'm not upset about it. It came second hand. I thought I was getting a brand new book, came second hand, but no, I am not upset about this copy of my book at all. It is absolutely gorgeous. So the blurb's in here. So Patricia Campbell's life has never felt smaller. Her husband is a workaholic. Her teenage kids have their own lives. Her senile mother-in-law needs constant care, and she's always a step behind on her endless to-do list. The only thing keeping her sane is her book club, a close-knit group of Charleston women unite by their love of true crime. Then James Harris walks into her life during the summer of 1993. He makes her feel things she hasn't felt in years, but when her children on the other side of the town go missing, Patricia wonders if he's connected. Is he Brad Pitt, a Bundy, or something much worse? Oh my god, I love this book so much. And I think it's a bit of a Marmite book. I've got to say, I think it's a bit of a Marmite book. But there was someone who put this under a negative review on, I think it was on Goodreads, and they were like, oh, there's so much misogyny in the book. And I'm like, it was 1993. This book's based in 1993. Yes, of course there's going to be misogyny. You know. Yeah. And two more. I've got two more. So Next of Kin. No, three more. Sorry. Ooh, can't count. Next of Kin. Oh my god. So you've got your main character who is an architect, and she hasn't got children, but she does care for her sister's kids, and her sister's child. One day she's taken him to nursery, and unfortunately it's a really hot day. She forgets he's there and forgets that she's left him in the car, and the worst happens. And that's in the first chapter. I'm not giving away any spoilers, but where this book went. I've got kids, and I thought I wasn't going to enjoy this book. The way that this book unfolded, it was more court procedural, and I found that fascinating. And again, if you guessed the twist, I want to know how you guessed it. All I can say is that once you pass those first few chapters with the emotion, stick with it, because it is totally worth it. Totally worth it. So, absolutely, I did rate that one 5 stars. Next on my list is I Let You Go by Claire Mackintosh. Another one where the twist totally got me. It totally got me. Now, Claire's got a new book coming out this year. It's Not What You Think, and she said the twist is even better. So watch this space. I can't wait to get my copy. I've got that on pre-order. So a tragic accident. It all happened so quickly. She couldn't have prevented it, could she? Now, I've got a short form video over on the other app. You know, that one. At the point where I got to the twist, I was speechless. I put another video out a few days later when I got to the next one. I was again speechless. I needed a support group of people who were in the middle of reading this to talk to about the book while I was reading the book. And yeah, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Highly rate that book. 5 stars. Absolutely. And finally, my next 5 stars was for an audiobook, which is part of the Cat and Lock series. It's the third in the book. Third book in the series, Human Remains by Jo Callahan. This book, I listened to this book. I don't actually have a copy, and I will be getting copies because I do have a copy of In the Blink of an Eye on my shelf. So I will be getting my copies because I do want to reread them before the 4th book comes out. 4th book is called Body of Lies, and that is out, I believe, in June. Can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. I actually even think I'm going to be getting the hardback because I can't wait to read it. The audiobook for Human Remains was brilliant, and I think I did it in about 2 days, and predominantly while I was getting ready for camping, and I went to Tesco to do the food shop, and I was standing in the queue in Tesco with tears in my eyes because the end, wow. And I can't wait to see what happens next. So I did rate that book 5 stars, and I can't wait to reread it before I read Body of Lies. So they are my top 10 of 2026. Again, if you made it all the way to the end, leave me a snowman emoji. Thank you very much. If you are still here and you really enjoyed listening to me witter on about all of these books, please subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.